The year is 1722. The Atlantic Ocean is not a highway for trade, it is a graveyard of empires. Across the horizon, a crimson shadow looms, a shadow that has devoured 400 ships in a reign of calculated terror. While the kings of Europe sit on gilded thrones, one man rules the waves with a crown of gunpowder and a scepter of steel. His name is Bartholomew Roberts, known to history as Black Bart. He is the most successful, the most feared, and the most sophisticated pirate to ever hoist the black flag. But on this humid morning off the coast of Gabon, the winds of fortune are about to shift. The British Empire has finally lost its patience. The Royal Navy has sent its finest hunter. This is not just a battle between two ships, it is the collision of two worlds. One, a world of absolute order and iron law, the other, a world of radical freedom and bloody rebellion. Today, the Golden Age of Piracy does not just fade away. It dies in a storm of grape shot and fire. This is the story of the Battle of Cape Lopez, the day the pirate king fell, and the ocean finally went silent. For 3 years, Black Bart was the ghost that haunted the great African current. He did not look like the ragged, drunken scavengers of legend. No. Roberts was a man of cold, surgical discipline. He wore finest damask, drank tea instead of rum, and forced his crew to live by a strict code of conduct. No gambling. No women. Lights out at 8. He was a CEO of a floating corporation of outlaws. By 1722, his fleet was a maritime superpower. He had paralyzed the slave trade, emptied the coffers of the Portuguese, and humiliated the British crown. To the merchants of London, he was a cancer. To his men, he was a god. But even gods can be outsmarted. Enter Captain Chaloner Ogle, commander of the HMS Swallow. Ogle was not a man of glory or ego, he was a man of cold, hard math. He knew he could not catch Roberts in a fair chase. He had to play a game of shadows. On the morning of February 5th, Ogle spotted one of Roberts' sister ships, the Ranger, near the coast. Instead of attacking, Ogle did the unthinkable. He turned the Swallow away. He lowered his gun ports, hit his soldiers, and acted like a frightened, lumbering merchant ship fleeing in terror. It worked. The pirates, blinded by greed and their own arrogance, took the bait. The Ranger gave chase, separating itself from Roberts' main fleet. Once they were out of sight of the shore, Ogle revealed his true teeth. The Swallow turned, its heavy 50 guns roaring like thunder. The Ranger was shredded. The pirate captain's leg was taken off by a cannonball. The survivors were chained. Stage 1 of Ogle's trap was complete. But the great prize was still waiting at Cape Lopez. February 10, 1722. Cape Lopez, Gabon. The sun rises over a sea of glass. The Royal Fortune, Roberts' flagship, sits at anchor. The crew is exhausted, many of them still nursing hangovers from a night of celebration. Roberts sits in his cabin, enjoying a final breakfast of salmagundi. On the horizon, a ship appears. The lookout calls down. It looks like a merchantman. Or perhaps it is the Ranger returning with fresh loot. Roberts, for the first time in his legendary career, is careless. He remains at the table. He trusts his luck. He trusts his legend. As the ship draws closer, the silhouette changes. The lines are too sharp, the wood too sturdy. It is the HMS Swallow. Ogle has returned to finish the job. Roberts drops his silver fork. He doesn't panic. He is a professional. He steps onto the deck and issues his final orders. He doesn't ask his men to run. He asks them to sail straight into the mouth of the beast. He dresses for the occasion as if he is attending a ball. A crimson waistcoat. A hat with a red feather. A gold cross around his neck. He stands on the quarterdeck, a beacon of defiance. If we are to die, he tells his men, let us die as kings. The ships close the distance. The silence is deafening, broken only by the creak of timber and the cries of gulls. Then, the world explodes. Ogle orders a broadside of grapeshot. Not solid iron balls meant to sink the ship, but thousands of small metal pellets designed to sweep the deck clean of human life. A cloud of lead screams through the air. In a single, sickening second, the Golden Age of Piracy is decapitated. A piece of grapeshot tears through the throat of Bartholomew Roberts.
It's finished.
He does not scream.
I never thought it would end like this.
He does not give a speech. He simply slumps against a cannon, his life's blood staining his red silk waistcoat a darker, permanent crimson. The pirates are in shock.
Halt.
Their king is dead. According to his long-standing decree, they do not let his body become a trophy for the crown. They lift the limp form of Black Bart and heave him over the side. The pirate king disappears into the dark, churning waters of the Atlantic before the first British boot even touches his deck. Without their leader, the pirates are a body without a head. They fight with the desperation of cornered rats, but the discipline of the Royal Navy is a machine that cannot be stopped. Steel meets steel. The deck of the Royal Fortune becomes a slaughterhouse. By noon, the black flag is lowered. The silence returns to Cape Lopez. But the empire was not finished. They did not just want to kill the men, they wanted to kill the idea of piracy. 272 men were taken in chains to Cape Coast Castle. The trial that followed was the largest in the history of the sea. There were no pardons. There was no mercy. On the beaches of Africa, 52 pirates were led to the gallows. They were hanged in rows, their bodies left to swing in the salty breeze as a warning to every sailor who ever dreamed of freedom outside the law. The death of Black Bart was the death of an era. The Atlantic was no longer a frontier, it was a regulated highway of the British Empire. The wild, bloody, and romantic dream of the pirate republic was buried in a shallow grave at the bottom of the ocean. Roberts once said he preferred a merry life and a short one. He got both. He lived with more fire than 1,000 men, and he died at the exact moment his world was ending. Today, the gold is gone. The ships are dust. The names of the captains who hunted them are forgotten in dusty archives. But the legend of the man in the red coat, the king who challenged empires and lost his life to a single shard of lead, still echoes in the roar of the waves at Cape Lopez. History is written by the victors, but the ghosts? The ghosts belong to the sea. The era of the pirate was over. The era of the empire had begun. And as the sun set over the gallows at Cape Coast, the world grew a little more orderly, a little more quiet, and infinitely less free. The great devil was dead, and the ocean was finally, terrifyingly, at peace.